Hello friends, John here. I'm glad you could stop by. Today, I'm going to talk about Black Mirror, starting back with a new season next month, June. Just in case I have viewers that have never seen it or maybe never even heard of it, it's a sci-fi anthology that ran between 7 and 8 years and had like 27 episodes. So it's not a lot of episodes for over the time period that it ran. It was heavy into technology and the effects of technology on society in a relationship, how people interpersonal relationships were affected by using the technology. Since, as I said, it had so few episodes, I'm just going to do 5 of my favorite, not a top 10. It's a typical thing to do. My favorite episode, I didn't even have to think for a minute. It was called White Bear. The premise was there was a woman that wakes up in a house. She has amnesia. She has no idea what's going on. She looks around and sees certain things in the house that give her sort of flashbacks. And throughout the episode, she's getting glimpses and flashbacks of little bits of memory, but she can't put them together. She doesn't know what they mean. The audience doesn't know what they mean. She goes outside, starts screaming for help. She wants help from other people, but all they're interested in doing is taking out their phones and filming her. When I first watched it, I thought, well, that's kind of weird, but nowadays, looking back, well, it's not very weird because that's what people do in real life a lots of times. If somebody needs help, an accident, a fight or something, and all they want to do is film it, put it on YouTube or whatever. So it's actually not such a strange thing. Fairly soon, somebody starts chasing her, wanting to kill her. Again, with the strange symbol that appears throughout the episode. So she runs and people keep filming her. She eventually meets another woman that gives her an explanation of what's going on and apparently how they can stop it. Now, the end is a real shocker. I didn't have a clue what was going on. And I'm generally pretty good. I grew up on Twilight Zone. I got to the point where if it's an easy twist ending, I could figure it out long ago. To give you an idea, and as a side, the movie The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis, I went into the movie theater to see it and I got it just like that. Now, the only clues I had going into that film was they constantly showed commercials of the little boy saying, "I see dead people, I see dead people." And all the reviewers would say is, "We can't tell you, but it's a twist ending. It's a twist ending." So I walk into the movie looking for a twist ending. As soon as Bruce Willis is shot, apparently comes back, I'm like, he's dead. And immediately you can see he doesn't interact with anybody. And then also when he goes to meet the little boy, what kind of psychiatrist or psychologist, whatever heck he is, introduces himself away from the parent? Or what kind of parent lets a stranger come up? "Oh yeah, I'm here to help you." It's like, no. So it was so obvious to me. And then all the people at the end of the theater are shocked. I'm like, didn't they see the same commercials I saw that he sees dead people? Anyway, that's an aside. I'm getting off topic. But the point being is I didn't have a clue for this ending, not a clue, but it made perfect sense. The ending can also provoke discussions if you get a bunch of people of what the implications are. What is moral and fair for the government to do, for citizens to do? I don't want to be too explicit about what I'm talking about. In case there are a few viewers that haven't seen it, I would encourage you to watch it. I think you'll really enjoy it. But the people that have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Also, too, if there are people that have watched it, if you don't agree with some of my choices, or if I missed some points that would help people that haven't seen it decide, put them in the comments, please. My second episode, and these aren't in order of preference, is the USS Callister. A man works for a company developing a computer game that's sort of a virtual reality. He takes stuff home and he makes a mod at home for his own enjoyment. But along with that, he takes bits of DNA from people in his office, coffee cups or whatever he can get, and he somehow merges their personality from the DNA into his mod at home, in which he can go in and have his fantasies fulfilled, where he's like a godlike character, or more like a devil-like character, because he torments the other characters, tortures them, torments them. It's sort of funny too. It's sort of like a Star Trek kind of scenario where he's almost like a Captain Kirk, but he takes it to the nth degree. Like I said, like a all-powerful, but he kisses the girls and he always right, and this kind of thing. The characters trapped inside the simulation, it's like hell to them. They want a way out because they have to relive constantly whatever torments he decides to come up with that day. Part of the plot is, can they get out? If so, how? So that's a very fascinating kind of thing, as Mr. Spock would say, very fascinating. The next show is called 15 Million Merits. This episode is a dystopian future where society has apparently reacted to the destruction of the environment through overconsumption, using all the resources in quantities that we didn't really need to do. So they went the other direction where it's downsized to where you get the bare bone minimum to survive. Get a little tiny cubicle of a room with a bed. You literally work your ass off to barely get enough food, if that, to survive. By that, I mean you have people riding stationary bikes to generate energy. For every little energy you regenerate, you get some credits. Everything costs a credit. You squeeze out a little bit of toothpaste, it costs credit. You want a little bit more? That costs even more. The people are kept sort of numbed constantly with videos, visuals, and sound to take their mind off of their meager existence. If you don't like looking at the commercial, well, you can click through it, but that's going to take credits off you. Well, that sounds sort of familiar to today. Is there any chance to get out of this drudgery, to work your way out somehow? Well, there's hope offered up that you can get on this talent show. Of course, it costs a lot of credits to get on. And do you really have a chance? Does it offer you a true opportunity? Well, you're going to have to watch and see. The next episode is called Hated in the Nation. As you may have heard, nowadays there's a decrease in bees. The populations are plummeting. So in this episode, they've made robotic bees in hives all over the place. There are thousands and thousands of bees across the country. A woman is apparently murdered by her husband, violently murdered. He claims he didn't do it. Some investigators start investigating. Pretty soon, some other people are murdered, and it comes out that the bees are doing it. Why are the bees doing it? The investigators stumble upon there's a game of consequences with a hashtag death to, where people all over the internet can vote on the most hated person. Who do you hate? A hated person gets to the top of the list. The bees are sent out to kill them. So it's no, not the bees! Not the bees! To be or not to be. You get to the top of the list, that is the question. Another ending, which is very good, enjoyable. So I would encourage you to watch this episode too. The final episode is called the National Anthem. This is the first episode that aired and the first episode I saw. I didn't watch the series as they originally aired. I watched them on Netflix a number of years after they had first started airing. But I watched them in order, so I did see this one first and got me into the series. It has a very unusual premise. Outlandish when you hear it, if you haven't heard of it. A British royal member family is kidnapped. The kidnapper demands for the freedom of this person, the prime minister has to have sex with a pig. On air, live. When you hear the premise, you might think it's a gross out, outlandish comedy, but it's not. How far would you be willing to degrade yourself to save somebody's life? Like it's the ultimate degradation to go on live TV. Everybody's going to watch it. Somebody's going to film it. You're going to go down in history. Even when you're long dead, that's the one thing people are going to remember about you. Everybody, to some extent, it's a human condition that you want other people to accept you, like you. And this would destroy you. But would you be willing to do it to save somebody? In this case, it's some higher person in society, supposedly. But would you do it for anybody? So as a whole, I would encourage you to watch the whole show if you can get a hold of it. But start with the episodes I like. So thanks for tuning in. If you have any comments, please put them down. Thank you.